Good morning. How's everyone doing? I'm sorry I'm a couple of days late with my videos. I was out of town all weekend, and then yesterday I left early to go to the doctor, and so I have to do the videos here at work because they're just uploaded a lot quicker. The lighting's a lot better, so it's not working out for me to do them at home, and so then I have to wait to the end of the day. So I haven't been here at the end of the day. So I needed to have some peace and quiet and nobody watching, but I hope you're watching. All right, so let's get started. Your word of the week for the week of February 16th through the 19th is this big word, prototype. A prototype. Prototype. Let's get the basics out of the way. Prototype is a noun. So it is a person, place, or thing, and in this case it's going to be a thing. Prototype. How many syllables? Prototype. 3. Pro, that's long O, and this upside down E is so it's prototype. So prototype. 3 syllables. Pretty easy to say, okay? Let's go on to the definition. And I'm going to give you 2 different definitions because I use 2 different sources. I use a Merriam-Webster dictionary page, and I use the dictionary.com, which is what I use mostly, but I use Merriam-Webster as well. So the dictionary.com definition is the original or model on which something is based or formed. Merriam-Webster.com is a first full-scale and usually functional form of a new type or design. You see it says the first is fully functional. So the prototype is the first one made, like the original model of something. Mine, and I just kind of like, sometimes I combine those 2 together, and I try to kind of put it in a little bit maybe easier words for you to understand. The original or model of something on which others will be patterned after. So let's see. Yeah. There was this definition here, and it had the word pattern at the end. That was another definition. So I kind of used the word pattern because whenever you make a pattern of something, you've got to have an original, correct? Well, I mean, you make the pattern, and then you can make some afterwards. So the pattern is like the prototype. All right, so let's look at some of the synonyms. Model. Model is definitely a good synonym for a prototype. Precursor, that means something that comes before something else. A sample or an original. So the original version of something, if you are making a model airplane, okay, and then you plan to sell that to a company, you have to have a prototype. You're going to have an original version that you started, and it's fully functional, just like the definition said. So, antonyms, opposite words of that, means a byproduct. The byproduct comes from something else. It branches off of the original. So, a byproduct would be the opposite because it's not the original. Derivative, naturally develops from something else. A derivative is just kind of like a byproduct, it's similar. It derives or comes from something else, comes from the original. Descendant, coming from an ancestor or source. So again, if it's not the original, if it's not the first one, if it's not the model, then you can consider it like the opposite of the original and the opposite of the model. Now, you have to kind of understand, because Ms. Hastings asked me to do science words. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes to say that this is a definite antonym. So I want you to understand that sometimes these are just words to maybe help you get a clearer picture. So if you understand, let's say that you know what a descendant is. Okay, you're a descendant of your grandparent, or the original. Well, let's say your grandparents, they are the original, matriarch and patriarch of your family, the mom and dad of your family. Well, you're a descendant of them because you came from them. So you understand the word descendant. That might help you to understand the word prototype a little bit better, because a descendant is not a prototype, and a descendant comes from a prototype, okay? So that's why I said these synonyms and antonyms, they're not always, to me, the best way of saying that, but it does sometimes give a clear picture in your mind of the word we're talking about. All right. So let's look at some pictures, a couple of pictures of prototype. So here is the picture I found, and I thought this was an excellent illustration. It looks like, to me, this guy, okay, and he has looks like a mirror. And so he must be the prototype. So he's the original. The robots were created from the prototype, is my sentence. He's the prototype. These guys were the descendants. These are the byproducts. These are not the original. This is the original. This is the model. This is the prototype. Okay? You getting an idea now of what prototype means? And I have one more picture to share with you real quick. What did I do with it? Here we go. All right, we're talking about cars. Whenever cars were created, here is Henry Ford had been working on, and that's from the Ford company, and we still have what? We still have byproducts of the original prototype. So I believe this is the car. It doesn't say, but this right here. So let me read the sentence to you. Henry Ford had been working on the design of automobiles prior to the design of the Model T, his first known design being his quadricycle of 1896. So his first known design of a Model T was the prototype. So this is, and I'm pretty sure this is it, okay? So this was the quadricycle in this, and that's what I wrote in this picture. That's why I wrote prototype out here beside it. So all of the Ford vehicles that have come through the years, they had to have an original. They had to have a model. They had to have a prototype that came from, and Henry Ford created that. So, I think that's about it. I think I covered everything. And if you see Miss Dorothy or myself out and about, tell us what prototype is, what it means. Tell us, use it in a sentence, and we will give you a treat, okay? Once again, this is what the vocabulary windows, the squares all look like. It looks like a window all together, so I call this a vocabulary window, vocabulary visual, word window, a couple of names that I use. So whenever I usually cut them apart, but this is what they look like. So if you create a word window and bring it to me, I would love it, love it. It can be from any of the vocabulary words that we have been doing so far, okay? So until next time, guys, you guys have an extraordinary week and weekend. Talk to you later.